Okay, well, we want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started with our February community call. I'm Charles Lively. I'm a science engagement engineer at NURSE, and also joined by Lippy Gupta, who is my counterpart and also a science engagement engineer. Today is our February community call. And so we have two exciting talks today by two engineers here at NURSE. We have Xingji Zhao, who is going to talk about GPU power capping. And then we also have Katie Klimko and Dan Camps, who are going to also discuss quantum computing access at NURSE. So first, if Xingji, would you like to just give a little introduction on yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, and let me go ahead and give you.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me get started. So hello everyone, and nice to talk to you all. And today actually I'm at the airport, so I turn off my video, and also I hope the noise is not too bad.
Oh, you're good to go. We barely hear anything in the background, so you sound great.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. So I'm Zhengji Zhao from Advanced Technologies Group. And today's talk is about GPU power capping. So I hope everyone is familiar with what is GPU power capping. But in case you are not, so GPU power capping is just put the maximum power limit on the GPU that can use. So that is the meaning of this. So this is one of the power management approach, and it is available on Permata. So I'm going to talk about this. So this is a collaboration between UEG with Rebecca's group. So we're gonna roll out some, the GPU power capping deployment plan on, Permata. So I'm gonna get started to my talk. So this is a teaser talk about the one about the GPU power capping production deployment. So today I'm gonna going to quickly go through the few things that is important as a take-home message. So first, everybody might already I mean this should be a known fact. The power has become a key limiting factor in HPC. So here I'm sharing a figure that is released recently by the Berkeley Lab, the Energy Technology Area Division. So this is the report they shared with the Congress. So basically, this is the total U.S. data center electricity use from 2014 to 28. So these are the historical, I mean, up to 23, it's a historical use, but from 23 to 28, this is a prediction. So you can see that there is a clear trend, like high demand, or you can say it's abrupt increase in the power from data center. So we have to be ready to this more constrained, the power in the future. And one of the way to address this is a so-called application-aware power management. So regarding power management, usually we have two commonly used approach. One is just to reduce the clock speed for GPU or CPU, or the other way is you just put the power limit on the CPU or GPU that they can use. So this is a two commonly used one, but today we're going to talk about how we limit the power usage of the CPU or GPUs. And application aware, it means like we can optimize the power allocation among the applications. So the applications need more power, can get more power allocation. But anyway, this is the intro. And before we go to talking about GPU power capping capability, I want to just quickly go through the specs of per matter. So everybody should know, like we have a GPU nodes and CPU nodes. And today we're gonna focus on GPU nodes. So I guess I don't have to go through the spec, in detail, but I guess many users may not aware the power usage side. So I want to tell you these slides, I think you can pay attention to the GPUs, the so-called thermal design power. So this is the maximum power GPU can safely use. Otherwise, GPU getting too hot, then they cannot function normally. So this is, you can consider as the maximum power GPU should spend. So for GPU node, we have, it's about 2,300 watt. And per GPU, it is 400 watt. And then maybe you are not aware, but we have the whole system that can monitor the power usage and energy usage on our system. So we're using Cray power monitoring tool to monitor the power usage. So next, I just want to tell you what is how you can apply GPU power capping to your job. So this is the script you can use. And here, I mean, other than the normal JavaScript, all you need is request one directive like this. So it's dash dash GPU power equal to desired power limit you want to run. And the desired limit can choose from 100 to 400 watt. Any number in between you can put here. This is for 40 gigabyte GPU nodes. And actually we have a small number of GPU nodes, has 500 watt, TDP. So for that one, you can run between 100 watt to 500 watt. So basically this directive, actually, when your job requests this directive, under the hood, when the job starts, this command will be run. I mean, this is NVIDIA SMI command to set the power limits on the GPUs. But this one usually requires root privilege. Users can't do that. But thanks to our sysadmin, Chris Samuel, he enabled this capability by developing a Slurm plugin for our batch system. So after you job run or during the job run, how you track the GPU power cap usage. So this is as simple as you run this command on the allocated nodes, or just use this after the job run. You can use this, the admin comment field, to extract the power cap information. So here is the example. I don't want to go through the detail, but basically you request the node during the job run, you can run this command. This I0 means you want to see the limit on the GPU 0. So you can see the limit even by GPU. And then after the job run, you can use this admin comment, but you need to parse it a little bit to get this GPU power cap. So the benefit and the challenges of deploying GPU power capping is I listed here. The most obvious the benefit is it can save power and energy. And also, we will see later, it can help mitigate system power fluctuations. This is one of the issue. We can say it's an operational issue. It's important to address when the system become larger. So it has these two obvious advantage. And then also we can say they reduce environmental impact. As long as we reduce the electricity use, it will help reduce the environmental impact. And then the more importantly, by deploying this GPU power capping, we are trying to prepare for the future with more strict power limit. So, and then the other one is, it's more like, you know, it's like a long-term thing. It's like can maximize the infrastructure investment. And then also we can buy larger system with a smaller power, you know, capacity. So we can improve system throughput on the given power budget. But the challenge is any power management approach, they come with application performance slowdown. So it is not necessarily definitely slow down, but it has a big potential to do that. So one of the difficulties is like it's hard to predict how much is slow down when certain power capping is applied. So there is a like overhead. Maybe we can say it the human overhead. I mean, the staff resource or whatever the overhead by, you know, the effort you have to invest to balance the performance and energy efficiency. So next, I think with that intro, I just want to show you a few case studies. So these can give you some idea of what is the room, the energy saving or power saving room when running applications with GPU power capping. So we did some case studies with the top applications at NERSC. So you can see this is the applications machine time usage. So you can see the VASP uses most machine hour, and then Mirk goes next, and E3SM goes next. So in our case study, we included these three top applications. And then I just quickly show what they are. They are materials science code, lattice QCD, and climate code. So our focus of study is just to try to understand the application's power behavior, and then also want to see if we put impose power capping, how much, you know, the performance, you know, it can get, how much the performance slowdown it can get, and then also the opportunity to do the, you know, the power management. So just to give some flavor of what we did, I just to show you here a few power usage timeline. So this is a VASP. It can have like a, I mean, we wanted to catch the dynamic feature. So we selected many different the workloads. And then also we looked into, we run them with different parallel concurrency. We just try to see how the power usage change with this over time. So this is some of the things we see. So basically the conclusion is why VASP has a widespread power usage, and the different workloads has very different, you know, power usage pattern. So here they zigzag a lot, but this is relatively low and flat. This has medium fluctuations. And then this is the power usage change over parallel concurrency. I don't want to go through in detail, but I want to just talk about this in more detail. So this is the power capping. This is a slide that shows power capping effect. So we can see that the power capping can reduce the peak consumption and the power fluctuations. So here I show two set of data. So the blue and the green shows the node power and the GPU power when the default, you know, power cap is applied. That is default is 400 watt. And then the other set of the red and the purple lines show the, you know, the results, node power and GPU power, then 200 watt power limit applied. So you can obviously see the peak power of the node now from blue down to red, they are largely reduced. So we can see the effect of power saving. So the peak power reduction is about 47%. And then we can also see that the red line, this is a power timeline. So red line is longer than blue, so it will slow down. So we measured it's a 10% slow down. And we also can see the power fluctuation power fluctuations is this amplitude compared to the red one. It is about 60% power decrease, the fluctuation decrease. So this is the result. So if we apply GPU power capping, so the horizontal axis show the power cap we applied. And then this is normalized performance and the normalized GPU energy. So the conclusion here you can get is I marked the 200 watt power cap result. So you can see that the maximum slowdown here is about 10%, but the maximum energy saving here is about 18%. So this actually, if we look at the total energy saving, it is about 13 to 15. So we did a similar analysis for milk, the second top application. I will quickly go through the main result here. So the main result is at the 200 watt GPU power capping, we see 28 reduction in energy consumption with 15% performance slowdown. And for screen, this is a GPU version of E3SM. The left side is the performance. This is the energy consumption. The conclusion is also the interesting point is 200 watt GPU power capping result, and we see the maximum slowdown is 7%. And then the energy saving, this is the total energy saving is up to 15%. So the case study summary is that if we apply the GPU power cap by 50%, then we have a bigger room to save total energy, and with some performance loss here. Sure, these optimal power capping is tunable and can be application dependent. And then these performance loss, we can also adjust and tune to the level of user can accept. But anyway, the conclusion is power capping offers significant potential for reducing both the power budget and energy bill. So the take-home message now is coming. So with this study, and we plan to roll out the production deployment plan for, it's not plan, we want to roll out the, the production deployment of the GPU power capping. So this is our plan. So maybe we will create a queue with incentives for users. So this is still under discussion. So we may consider the boost queue priority for this queue, or also discount on the node hours. But these are not finalized. We still need to develop what is the best way for this implement this queue. And then we will help users to adopt the GPU power capping in their production workloads. So we will document the existing studies and then provide instructions and also provide user trainings so that the users can experiment with their workloads to use optimal power cap in their workloads. And then one of the ongoing efforts is we want to raise the awareness of power and energy consumption among users. So we will provide some tools and APIs so users can monitor and track energy usage of their jobs. And then we will, while we doing this, we can collect user feedback to learn the power behavior of the nurse production workloads. So we will come back in the next NUG with more updates, but that's all my talk. And thank you for your attention.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Xingji, for the updates and the intended strategy that you're going to have moving forward. Do you have any thoughts on maybe what are some of the best ways to really help users understand the importance of learning how to utilize tools like this for power capping for reducing energy consumption? Because we all know that it's important, but sometimes people don't necessarily understand the true impact. So, do you have any thoughts on how we can get that message out to help users truly understand it?
Yeah, that is a good question. So actually, in general, data centers care about energy and power a lot. Actually, that is a really big concern when we buy like a new system. But once we purchase the system and users use the system, users are rarely exposed to the energy and the power usage. But I think one thing can help users, participate in this activity of saving energy and power is you can imagine, let's say one day we don't have enough power to drive all the power matter nodes. Then what we can do is if you want to keep going without, practicing the energy saving approach, then we may not be able to run the full system. Then users productivity will be very, much affected, right? They may have to line up and wait even longer. And actually we will have reduced capacity to, provide increased throughput, right? So we are preparing for that future. So actually users participation, actually they are helping themselves. It's not only the data center's duty here. If we
Yeah,
not prepare for the future, then one day we will be really, you know, get, limited support or capacity to run their workload. Right.
yeah. Do you have any additional thoughts on how you can incorporate an application's power efficiency into um, our queue policy, and how can we maybe reward users that do make more optimal use of some of the tools that we have coming out to enable power capping?
Yes, we have been preparing for this like already 2 years, I think. We have been
Yeah,
looking to this. So we did a case study and we also have the tools. They are not completely ready, but I think by next month, we should have some good, tools to use to display the power usage. So I think one important strategy is we want to make users aware this is important for their participation. Otherwise, we will like run into in a day like we will be really in trouble, right? It's not only center users are responsible for that. And then I think in our side we will providing user trainings so they can do, learn how to benchmark and how to find the optimal GPU power capping for their workloads. And the general guide is usually the memory bound code will have like a less impact, performance impact while reducing the power usage. So we will have like a good I think with the training, with the documentation, and then with good awareness, raising the awareness among the users, I think we will have good turnout. I mean, we hope users can adopt this sooner than later. Yeah.
yeah. Probably on our end, we need to develop a more, I don't know, gamification approach to incentivize users to really learn, if that includes rewarding project hours or something that for those that truly exhibit it. But that's just definitely something for us to think about too. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for your presentation and your updates. And yeah, it's definitely important that we figure out ways and strategies to reduce our energy consumption. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And Katie, are you ready to take the floor?
Yeah, let me share my screen. And can everyone see my
Good to
slide?
go. Yep.
Okay, so I'm Katie, and together with Don, we're going to tell you a little bit about some of the work we're doing to provide quantum resources to our users, and also a bit of an overview of why this is important for NERSC in general and how we're thinking about that. So we're both in the Advanced Technologies group, same group as NG, and really we're thinking about future NERSC systems and how quantum could be important for them. So this is a slide we often show when we talk about how we're thinking about the future, how we think things are going to evolve for our users and for ourselves, and what types of resources we want to be able to provide. And for quantum, it's something we think that could be quite important for our users in the 2030 timeframe. But getting to that point, understanding which types of quantum hardware will be most effective for the types of scientific problems our users want to run, and how exactly to use them, that's something we need to start thinking about now. And we're trying to approach that in a number of different ways. But really, we're thinking on the time frame of NERSC 11 and beyond for when we might really want to incorporate quantum computing technologies into our computational offerings at a large scale. And when we think about this now, we really try and have some information about what types of jobs people are currently running on our systems. Zenji showed a similar, more detailed pie chart on her slides. But if we just take like a kind of zoomed out look at the types of algorithms people are running on current systems and have been for the past 5 years or so, you can make a pie chart like this, which Brian Austin made, I believe, in 2018, and it hasn't changed too much since then. These are the algorithms people are running on their systems. And one thing to note is that many of these algorithms are really solving quantum mechanical equations, over 50% of the cycles that are being run. And that's important for us because it means that there might be some quantum algorithm that either currently exists or might be discovered in the future that could accelerate either parts or all of these types of algorithms. Definitely not guaranteed. That's a whole area of research that people are working on, what quantum algorithms can actually accelerate, but there is hope for that. And then there are a number of other areas, such as solving PDEs, things like this, that aren't quantum mechanical in nature, but people are looking at these types of algorithms for quantum speed up. So there's an exploratory aspect there, and there's hope that some of these algorithms might also be accelerated by having access to better quantum hardware. So these, just looking at our workload, are inspiration enough for us to be interested in quantum technologies. But then there's also the big question of what people aren't even attempting to do right now because they're just too hard. The scaling is exponential. You can't do them on classical resources. And we're hopeful, and we believe the quantum community is hopeful, that there will be a number of these growth areas that will open up as the hardware and algorithms continue to develop. And we're looking towards those opportunities as well. So when we think about this, we really think about developing a quantum strategy that is reflective of, the traditional NERSC mission. And this is a combination of pathfinding, which we'll say a little bit more about, and that's understanding what exists now in terms of quantum hardware and algorithms. And then what will be the focus of this talk is early user exploration. So we're working with 2 quantum hardware providers, Quera and IBM, which provide 2 different types of quantum hardware. And we're learning how to use their hardware effectively ourselves and also getting users up and running on them now. And eventually, we're hoping that there will be many users actually accessing this hardware, potentially doing things in a hybrid fashion where you're using some classical compute resources, using some quantum compute resources to really do new types of science at scale. So we're taking these initial steps. We have a number. This picture shows the quantum team at NERSC, and we're slowly growing it to incorporate more types of expertise and make sure we're prepared to offer the best hardware, software, algorithms, and support to our users as these technologies continue to grow and mature. This is a high-level roadmap of how we've tried to address the previous slide, and how we started trying to incorporate some sense of quantum and get our users access to better quantum technologies was just really giving some dedicated time on Perlmutter for people wanting to do quantum information science classically at scale. So we have a program called QIS at Perlmutter that we started in 2022, and this is still ongoing. So this gives some amount of time on Perlmutter if you have a specific project that needs classical compute resources to explore something related to quantum information science, you can get special time on Perlmutter to do that. So that's what we started in 2022. Since then, really the focus now has been working with different quantum hardware vendors, getting a sense of how to actually use their hardware, getting some sense of how to benchmark and evaluate different types of quantum hardware and algorithms. Don has led a lot of efforts in resource analysis for what actually running quantum algorithms at scale will look like. But then also we're slowly trying to get users up and running on these types of technologies. And in the future, the end of the decade, in the 2030s, we're really hoping that this will be a large scale thing. We'll have order 100 to thousands of users who are able to use quantum resources. And there might be some sort of integration with traditional HPC. Though how that exactly looks and how those algorithms will actually be structured is an open question that we're working with different researchers to answer. If you are familiar with this field, you might know that there are many different types of quantum hardwares being developed. If you're not, maybe this is surprising, but it's unclear at this stage, and I'd say quantum history, what the leading qubit technology will be. And this lists a number of different platforms that are somewhat popular. I'd say there's even more being developed for how to actually build qubits. Superconducting ion traps and neutral atoms are probably the leaders right now, and we're offering access to superconducting qubits and neutral atoms through our quantum access program. But this is an open challenge trying to figure out which types of hardware will be the best for future applications. Maybe different types of hardware will be better for certain types of algorithms. And the only way to really address that is to get access and try to actually start running things on these types of hardware. So part of our efforts are really having close engagements with vendors, knowing what their roadmaps look like, just like we do with classical hardware, and trying to get access to actually test them out. So our focus has been on we talk about like the focus of quantum at NERSC in these three different areas. So really pathfinding R&D, which is focused on algorithm development, benchmarking of quantum hardware, understanding resource evaluation for running large-scale quantum applications in the future once we have better hardware available. And then, of course, vendor collaborations have been important for this because we get access to the types of hardware, near-term hardware that are being developed currently. We get a better understanding of how to actually use these systems, what the needs are if we were to actually buy these systems, like what type of building you would need to actually house them, how it might hook up to the classical machines that you're using. And this has been work with Quera, IBM, and then, of course, we have collaborators who are more focused on simulations of quantum systems using classical hardware. So work with NVIDIA, and Xanadu has really focused on that, doing these classical simulations of quantum systems at scale. And then, of course, our growing user programs, which we started in 2022 with this QIS at Perlmutter program, which is still running. If you have interest in getting access to this, please contact us. And if you have a good proposal, you can get time on Perlmutter to do this type of research. So far, we have 30 plus teams and 30 plus publications. So it's been a really successful program. And as of 2024, last year, we started a program with Quera Computing, which offers neutral atom hardware. And we've gotten a small group of users up and running with help from us and scientists at Quera to actually do algorithms where they get access to the neutral atom hardware through the cloud. As of January 2025, so just 2 months ago, we initiated a contract with IBM where we offer cloud access to their superconducting hardware, and with help from us and with IBM scientists to execute algorithms at scale. And Don's going to tell you a lot about what that program looks like, what you would need to do to apply, and how we train people to actually use that hardware effectively. So this is our 3 different thrusts that I laid out on the previous slide of our user program. So quantum information science at Perlmutter is our classical resources. We offer access to neutral atoms through a collaboration with Quera, and we offer access to superconducting qubits through IBM. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how Quera looks. This has been structured more in sort of the NESAP frame, where we have close collaborations between the science teams, the hardware vendors, and us at NERSC to make sure that people are able to effectively use this new type of hardware. So we had 20 teams apply when we first put this out, and 3 teams were selected because we're planning for this, and it has been a very close collaboration where we're meeting on a bi-weekly basis with these teams. And I'll say we're thinking about how this should look in the future, whether this is something that we should scale up, what the need is, and the desire is for access to this type of hardware. Because neutral atoms are, I'd say, relatively new compared to superconducting qubits, and using them is a little bit more challenging currently. So this close access is necessary. So IBM, we're providing broader access, so more teams are going to be allowed to access these systems through NERSC, and there will be support from both IBM and from NERSC staff, but a little bit less closely knit than the projects we designed with Quera. And we're thinking about how this should look in the future, how this can grow, how we can train our users and ourselves to make this more streamlined and potentially offer more quantum hardware access in the future based on our users' needs. And just to show some highlights from these first two pillars, so QIS at Perlmutter, we've gotten a lot of different results from people doing things in the area of compilation and transpilation. How do you actually build good gates effectively, and how can you test that for chemical systems, material systems? People looking at ways to actually simulate classically large-scale quantum circuits, which is very challenging because these things scale exponentially. But people have come up with algorithms to actually do this, in particular people from Xanadu, which is another quantum company, people exploring quantum machine learning algorithms, as well as people from Quera actually using information that they get off of our system, simulating at small scale neutral atoms on Perlmutter, and using that to inform how they design their larger scale neutral atom hardware simulations. And then, of course, people looking at different types of more basic science that could lead into better qubit design in the future. So if you're interested in this, definitely reach out to us if you have something where you need classical resources to explore how to accelerate quantum information science. And as I mentioned, so our first partnership with a quantum hardware vendor was with Quera Computing. So this is a Boston-based quantum computing startup that came out of researchers from MIT and Harvard who had a lot of experience doing neutral atom experiments in the lab. And they built a number of different machines, but the currently available one through the cloud is Aquila. And this is an analog quantum computer that currently has 256 atoms that operate in a reconfigurable 2D geometry. And this reconfigurability is actually quite valuable for a lot of the algorithms that people are trying to run on neutral atoms right now. And this is the first type of neutral atom hardware available through cloud access. And they've demonstrated that they have very good future potential. So they've demonstrated scalable logical qubits, which is something that the field as a whole is really working to try and produce qubits that have very low error. So you can do very long simulations with lots of different gates and actually do some of these things that we hope will be beyond what you could do classically. They recently explored digital capabilities. So what we can access now are analog capabilities, but they've developed digital capabilities, and we're hoping that at some point in the future, this might be available for ourselves to use and for NERSC users to use. And just to give you a sense at a high level of this area, so neutral atoms are quite new, I would say, at least in terms of them being a very promising platform for eventual quantum computation. And there's been a whole exploration of different types of condensed matter applications that you can run on neutral atom hardware, and we're showing basically some of the experiments that have been run in the recent years by getting access to this type of hardware. And it's really a playground for condensed matter physics right now. And people are slowly expanding this more to optimization problems and what you can do even for chemistry problems. So this is a quite new area with lots of promise for different areas of computational science. And just to give you a better sense of how the hardware that's currently available operates. So as we mentioned, this is an analog processor, and it's basically solving the Schrodinger equation for some Hamiltonian. And there's restrictions on the types of systems you can actually solve here, which is why it's analog, it's less universal compared to digital processors, but you can do a lot of interesting things in a number of different computational areas, in particular condensed matter physics and high energy physics. And the system is composed of rubidium atoms. So they have an array, a two-dimensional array of rubidium atoms up to 256 atoms. And you have some amount of time that you can evolve the system and some field of view that you can actually look at to measure what's going on in the system. So there are different constraints that they're working with, and these are slowly being relaxed with some feedback from the users about what people actually want to do. If you're interested in all the specifications of the machine, you can look at this white paper that was put out. But this is the hardware that we have access to currently and that our users have been using. And this has led to a lot of nice results for us and the start of some very nice results for our users. So our first year working with Quera was focused on a number of different areas, solving optimization problems on neutral atoms, looking at dynamics for high energy physics problems, and looking at ground state phase diagrams. So these are all areas that we think are relevant to the NERSC workload, and we got a sense through these projects of how to actually program these machines and what the results could look like. We also gave feedback to Quera, the hardware vendor, about what types of modifications to their hardware would be useful for future user needs. And right now we're working with this set of users who applied with a number of different projects and got access to the machine to work with us and Quera scientists to actually explore a number of different areas. So again, this is operating at quite a small and intensive scale right now because we're training these users and we're trying to make sure that they can do high-level science on this machine currently, and it's not trivial to use, but we're hoping that this might scale to something that could operate at a large scale in the future. So Don's going to take over and tell you about our new collaboration with IBM.
Yeah, so in the last couple of minutes of this presentation, I'll discuss a bit our newest program that Kitty mentioned that was just announced last month. So starting now, we have the IBM Quantum Innovation Center available to LBL employees and selected external NERSC users. You can apply to this program. I'll discuss some more details on how to get access and how to apply in the next few slides. But this program gives access to multiple IBM quantum processor systems, and all of them have at least 100 qubits. IBM also routinely updates the systems they offer to their users. So new systems come online at least once a year. I believe that they update their technology roadmaps and bring new systems online. And this picture shows an image of the current product that IBM has available for their users. It's the IBM Quantum System 2. So if you can go to the next slide. Here it shows a bit more in detail on how the technology that IBM has available actually works, and it's somewhat different from the neutral atom quantum computer technology from Quera. Here the topology is fixed, so you can't move the qubits around. The topology is shown on the grid on the right hand side of the slides, where we have this heavy hex lattice with nearest neighbor couplings and across 133 qubits. In the latest generation of their technology, the Heron chip architecture, they have introduced tunable or variable couplers between the qubits, which reduces the crosstalk and improves the quality of the hardware over previous generations. And this chip is placed at the bottom of the chandelier you see on the left-hand side, which is called a dilution refrigerator. It's cooled to near 0 Kelvin temperature and operated through pulses that get sent into the fridge by these wires you see on the picture. And the user can program the qubits that can program the quantum circuit that get executed on these processors using the IBM Qiskit SDK. So it's more of a universal type of quantum computer compared to the analog neutral atom quantum computer, and the user has access to all the gate sets that are available in Qiskit. So if you go to the next slide. As I mentioned previously, IBM has multiple systems online as part of our Quantum Innovation Center. Currently, there are 11, I believe, with 3 of them from this latest generation of the Heron devices, the top 3 that are highlighted in purple. These have the highest number of qubits and typically the lowest 2-qubit error rate. So the 2-qubit error rates are the numbers that are shown per quantum computer. They vary between 10 to the -2 to 10 to the -3 roughly is what they're currently at. So we have seen them slowly improving over time and growing the number of qubits over time as new systems become available. So on the order of 10 user projects are anticipated to participate in this program initially. And we currently have the call online. So if we can go to the next slide, this gives a bit more information about how we're organizing the call for proposals and what the timeline is. So we're currently accepting proposals. They will be reviewed on a rolling basis with a soft deadline on March 4th in roughly 2 weeks from now. Awards will be made for a 6-month performance period with the possibility of extension. And applicants can come from universities, national labs, and industry. The main requirements are that the science has to be open science, so you have to do your research with the intent of publishing, and you have to adhere to the current export control regulations. Applicants will be selected based on their project proposals, the availability of resources, and the alignment with the DOE mission overall. So if we go to the next slide, this link is the link of the website, which has more information about the program and the actual form to apply. The proposal application is relatively lightweight. We ask for a 3,000 character description of your project, why you need access to IBM quantum computers, how close to how ready you are to run your application on quantum computers. It's fine if you're not that close to running yet. We are open to new and more experienced users in this program. It's not a strict requirement that you have your codes ready to run. We are interested in working with you to get to that stage that you can run and use these systems. So if we can go to the next slide. So in order to integrate this program in our offering, we have 2 teams currently involved at NERSC. We have people from the quantum team at NERSC, including Jan Balevsky, Ermal Rapai, Neil Mehta, Katie, and myself, that will be the administrators for the Innovation Center. And then the NERSC operations staff has been helping us tremendously with integrating this new program into Iris, upgrading Iris to have new functionality to track quantum allocations, the specific agreements that have to be signed for this quantum project, and so forth. So this is becoming more and more integrated into our overall NERSC offering. Which is a great evolution if we think back to the timeline that Katie presented at the beginning of the slide. And then if we go to the next slide, we're also planning to organize regular trainings on how to best use IBM's hardware. These trainings will likely be organized in collaboration with Oak Ridge National Lab, who also have access and a user program for IBM hardware. And IBM scientists and researchers. Details of these trainings will be announced in the next few months. For the Quera platform specifically, we have organized trainings in the past, and we will likely organize more in the future as well. We have them available on our NERSC YouTube channel if you want to review them. And every year since the past 3 or 4 years, we have organized the NERSC Quantum Days Conference, which brings together our small but growing user community interested in QAS research at NERSC. And here we typically also feature additional trainings for using quantum hardware and software packages on Perlmutter at scale. And then if we go to the next slide. Other type of community building activities that we're considering and actively exploring are more tight collaborations with vendors, where we work, for example, with IBM and NERSC users to develop and execute quantum algorithms at scale. Also within the DOE community, there will be and will hopefully be more community collaborations with in the form of joint workshops with Oak Ridge and so forth. And then the long-term goal is to integrate this IBM Quantum Innovation Center API more and more into Iris, such that it leads to a more seamless integration of quantum resources into overall NERSC workflows. And then the yearly event that I mentioned is the NERSC Quantum Days. This year, the dates will be October 29 and 30th. So stay tuned for more updates as we get closer to that date. And it's a venue for users, vendors, and researchers to come together and share results and knowledge about their research on quantum computing. Go to the next slide. So in summary, we are very actively exploring and building a quantum user program that we hope is designed for both scientific impact now and in the near future, and a breadth of users which will inform future requirements on quantum systems that NERSC can offer to its user community. And we are improving our understanding in the future role that quantum computing might play in the HPC workload, and actively developing the infrastructure to serve users, these new type of users and this new type of resource to our user community. We are very open to discuss further ideas with you, so feel free to get in touch with either Katie or myself if you have feedback or suggestions.
Awesome. Did we have any questions for Don and Katie? In the meantime, while everyone processes and think, I'll start with the first question. A lot of activity and cross collaboration activities seems like that's key to growing and making sure quantum is more impactful. From a kind of workforce perspective, have you guys had any struggles recruiting or getting qualified researchers, scientists, developers that are able to, help with spreading this mission and focusing on different verticals? Has that been an issue? And yeah, has that been an issue to your knowledge?
Well, I guess Don and I have some personal experience with this. There have been postdocs we've tried to hire in the past who got offers from like JP Morgan, who has like actually quite a big quantum team, and wanted to pay them a lot to explore the potential of this for future optimization problems. So I would say it's an interesting space right now where there's a lot of interest and hope from companies. There's a lot of recruiting from Google, Microsoft, JP Morgan, some other banks that take a lot of talent more towards the private sector, I'd say, compared to academia and national labs. Although these people end up often publishing really good research there too. So I'd say that's an interesting thing right now, given that this is still quite exploratory. People aren't really using this to discover new things yet, but there is that promise. So I think a lot of really good people end up getting attracted to some of these bigger companies. I don't know if you have anything to add, Don.
Yeah, maybe one thing to add, we have been active in some workforce development activities each year for the past 3 or 4 years. I believe we have had a couple of summer interns working with us on some research projects related to quantum. So that's been quite a nice experience to see new people getting involved in the field and learning through hands-on research.
Yeah, and maybe a thing related to that, it's so interdisciplinary, like you said, Charles, that if people come from an applied math background, a chemistry background, a physics background, computer science, you can make contributions right now. So that's kind of an interesting part of this field right now too. So pulling from different expertises is something that's really worthwhile right now in this space.
Yeah, it's all entangled,
Yes.
pun intended.
Yeah.
Um, so it seems, Katie, your take was definitely more that, industry is like money talks and it's the competition is fierce in that respect. That's kind of what I took from your
I think that's
response.
accurate. I think a lot of the best people who, well, I'd say two things. I think being trained specifically in this area is something new and growing, but I think a lot of the best people coming out have really good options in industry right now. And industry seems to be putting significant money into this compared to some more academic setups. Yeah.
So I guess one way about that, I thought, has your group or nurse or the lab in general thought about maybe doing like industry fellows that, really if we're having problems getting people directly to work with nurse, maybe a collaboration in that respect where it's more direct synergistic, um, working with someone from industry directly with at the nurse, like a sabbatical or some sort.
I think that's a good idea. We haven't discussed that, but we do have lots of ties with these companies because we're using their hardware. So it would be kind of a natural, and I think they like us. I think they would be a natural exchange. Yeah.
Okay, just a thought. Very amazing and interesting activities and ideas and progress. Did anyone else have any questions? We're a little bit past the hour. All right. Well, on that note, we want to thank all of our speakers, Zingji, Don, Katie, for presenting these updates and great information. All of the video recording of today's talk will be posted within the week, and the PDFs of the presentation materials will be uploaded shortly. So thank you all. Have a great rest of your day and happy Friday Eve. Thank you
Thank you.
to all the presenters.